Hello everyone, welcome along to Chargers TV. We're back in studio this week. Ron Riggs, Justin Bryan alongside you here. JB, welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back. It's been a nice long, well, not a long break. We did the podcast last week.
Yes.
Very busy. Obviously, one of the biggest days of the year as we record on the Wednesday. NBA Finals opening day.
Yes, happy NBA Finals
Yes, happy NBA Finals day. And obviously free agency hotting up in the NBL as well. But even bigger for the Chargers going on would have to be very close to a historical three-game road trip this weekend, or a back-to-back-to-back, a triple header, so to speak, Ronnie. So a lot of basketball action going on.
Absolutely. The first time in many, many years, JB. It used to be done in the 90s, from what Stewie and Nash keep telling me. So,
back in there, they used to have to walk over the top of Mount Wellington to get to school though as well, remember?
Yes.
It was a lot harder and tougher back when they were about.
It was. But they were home Friday night at the Kingborough Sports Centre. They took on the Geelong Supercats. So let's have a look at the women's results for you now. Hobart going down to Geelong 98-69. Top scorers for your Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers. Maddie Garrick with 28 points, 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Ellie Collins had 20 points, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. For Geelong, Sarah Blixars, player of the game in our live broadcast, 34 points and 8 rebounds. Sarah Ellsworthy with 20 points and 8 rebounds. And Steph Blickards with 19 points, 3 rebounds and 6 assists. Let's hear from Sarah Blickards, who we got live on our broadcast, and then head coach Mark Nash.
I love playing NBL 1 and I love being back with Geelong. And yeah, you know what, I come back here and I'm like, why not try and win a championship, you know? So get a few wins, see how we go.
And a big game again for you tonight personally. What were you seeing out there that you were able to take advantage of?
I think I just get angry and annoyed, to be honest. Like, I hate when teams are close to us and, you know, I hit a point where I go, come on, Sarah, I need to start contributing. So then I just get angry and start doing stuff myself, and it seems to work a little bit. So
It seemed to work pretty well tonight.
Yeah, I'll just stick with that mindset, I think, coming through for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it is a bit of a blast from the past when 3-game road trips were every trip back in the day, but really tough for us. And there's a big issue around player welfare and managing recovery in between those games. There's a huge travel component as well on the Saturday, so it's a tough trip. We'll be going all out on the Friday night in Nuttawaddy, and then we'll see how people pull up, and then it'll be a matter of managing some minutes over the next 2 games.
So the thoughts there from Sarah Blixards and Mackay Timbers women's head coach Mark Nash. And JB, obviously, attention now focuses on the 3-game road trip. Before we get on to the 3-game road trip and kind of jumping ahead, just some thoughts from Friday night.
Death taxes Sarah Blixards on a wall. On a wall front. It was simple as that. One of the last cuts for the Opals, one of the last cuts for a WNBA team. And as she said in the post-game interview, why not come back and win a chip? Geelong at the moment, as we quickly get the ladder back up, have managed to really try and push themselves towards the 8 there. They are sitting 10th, but they are making a really hard run of it as well. They're now 3-1 in games that she has played in, I do believe. And if that is anything to say by them, they're going to be a genuine contender to push into the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, it's just a matter of playing your best basketball there. She had a fantastic game, one of the best games we've seen, inside, outside. She gave everyone the business. But the big thing for Geelong, they ran 7-8 deep. Everyone on that floor able to contribute. I believe they had close to 5 double-digit scorers there. Ellsworthy played well. Steph Blixards played well. You had Alex Duck playing well. Just everyone contributing for Geelong, and obviously Sarah Blixards, the big inclusion there. Hobart's, they were slowly finding their feet and they were getting in and out as much as they could, but I mean, Sarah was just too much of a match. When you've got such a tall player, and you'll see the interview where she was next to Jacob Dool. Jacob's a genuine 6'2", I would say, Ronnie.
Yes.
And, she's looking, over the top of him. So she's 6'3", 6'4", in that range there. And, there's no doubt about it, very hard to stop a player like that who's so good inside and so good on the perimeter. But again, it was that energy factor, getting back on defence really quickly, getting out on transition as well, getting to the line, converting all over the floor, did what they needed to do. For Hobart, again, as we mentioned, big challenge, 3-game road trip. There's going to be a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. They head to Nuttawading, Albury-Wodonga and Knox. So now we believe the game when they take on Albury on Saturday night may be changed to a different location because pending the COVID restrictions around New South Wales and whatnot. So keep an eye on the NBL 1 socials in regards to any change of venue, and also on our Chargers media socials too, because we'll plug it depending on where they play. But head coach Mark Nash is saying in his press conference, JB, that they're going to go all out Friday night. They're allowed to take an extra player on the road with them to help with obviously recovery and an extra number there for rotations and whatnot. See how they go Friday night, and then kind of have a look and see where they land Saturday and then Sunday. But a 3-game road trip, I know I've done this in the past back in my days of officiating in Siebel. They are tough road trips to have.
Yes, well, it's very interesting. Mark Nash says that Nutter Wadding's going to be the target. They are, as we stand, a top 6 team at the moment, going to throw everything at them. Obviously, Knox as well amongst that road trip. They're a top 4 side. So, Hobart really punching above them, their weight division at this point. Dead last on the ladder, not exactly where you want to be. Albury-Wodonga now with 2 wins on their season as well. So, it's going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, depending on travel is going to depend on how the Albury-Wodonga game goes. Personally, I think their most gettable game is obviously Albury-Wodonga. But as Mark said, at this point they're here to disrupt. They want to win. A win is absolutely what they want. 3 and zip is what they want. But having talked with Mark Nash, disrupting the rest of the competition and really trying to build ready for next year is also a key part of this season. And why not disturb a side like Nutter Wadding, who are a genuine push for a top 4? They're going to play finals. But, if you can disrupt them a little bit, that throws the rest of the competition into chaos as well. And it also builds a bit of respect for the team, going forward. If they can knock Nutter Wadding off, they'll have plenty of confidence going in against Albury-Wodonga. And if you're 2-0 at that point, then, Knox would have to be really careful. Again, it's the same with any road trip you see, Ronnie. You've got to balance which games you do and you want. And a 3-game road trip's even harder. Do you go flat out Friday night, which is obviously what they're wanting to do with, Nutter Wadding, but then you've got to be careful. Do we rest Saturday and try and have a big game Sunday, or do we rest Friday looking to go hard Saturday, Sunday, or do we go hard the first 2 knowing that okay, we could cost ourselves Sunday? So a lot of management to go there. Extra play on the road is going to be helpful, but it's going to be a really tough task for any team on the road, let alone our girls who have probably underperformed a bit this year.
And of course, you can catch all the action by the NBL One website or the NBL app. We'll have game times posted on our social media links later on this week. We'll take a quick break. We'll go through JB's sponsor roll call, and then we'll come back with the men's results for you right after this.
On behalf of the Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers, naming right Mackay Timber, our platinum sponsors for the women Mackay Timbers, for the men Clennett's Minor 10, our gold sponsor Swisho Hoops Academy, our bronze sponsors Halls Water Wastewater Treatment Services, Jayco Hobart and Salters Hire Contra. Shout out to our scoreboard hero and our graphics you will see on social media, core staff, our community partner Wilson Homes, our mental health partner Speak Up Stay Chatty, our media partners in the Mercury, 7HOFM and Beetle Black Media, our corporate box sponsors including THA, Davey Street Discount Pharmacy, Lion Co and North City Cars. Our coaches sponsors tonight, Dobson Mitchell Allport sponsoring Mark Nash, and core staff again sponsoring Anthony Stewart. Finally, our player sponsors, Rockwell Bar and Grill, Precision Plumbing, TasTrans Enterprises, Sam Proprietary Limited, The Barbershop, Bellamac, Home Smarts, Mermaids Takeaway, The Hanging Garden, Halls Water Wastewater Management, Bulk Nutrients, JMC and Express Service Centre. As they say in the classics, Ronnie, yibbida yibbida.
And welcome back. Time for the men's results. And Hobart getting the win on this one, JB. Again, another great shooting display from the 3-point land. And they win it 109-96. At one stage, up by about
very close,
mid-30s.
We're very close to around that 30-point mark. Stewie taking the foot off the accelerator a bit, but got some valuable minutes into the youngsters.
Absolutely. And everyone, I think, scored as well too. Once again, all 12.
Pretty much all 12 on the board, and very close to, I think close to 5 double-digit scorers as well.
Absolutely. Let's go through the top scorers for your Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers. Ted Duffelmeyer, player of the game, 30 points, 9 rebounds and 2 assists. Cohen Sapwell chipping in with 17 points, 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Jack Purchase, very good double-double, 12 points, 12 rebounds and 4 assists as well too. For the Geelong Supercats, Mawud Makar, who came on from deep nicely.
Yeah, he come off the bench. He was probably the best performed, out of everyone, Geelong or Hobart, probably the best performed bench player of the night, I'd say. Yeah,
had 18 points, 4 rebounds. George Blagodriovic had 17 points, 8 rebounds and 7 assists. And Isaac Turner had a straight 16 points. So let's hear from Gabe Hadley, who we spoke to post-match, and also Ted Duffelmeyer with Jacob Dool.
Unfortunate loss for us. The Chargers boys played well. They got us right from the start. We let it slip away. Hats off to them. They played really well.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun playing with those guys, getting some shots up and running the score up is always fun.
Yeah, a lot of points from you guys again for second or third game in a row. What is it do you think that's letting you score so easily?
Just a lot of weapons on the team. You know, you can't really help off any one of us. Kick it to someone else and make it three. You know, sometimes Geelong, even tonight, had a couple good stops, played good defense for 20 seconds, and kick it to someone they hit a three. You know, those are backbreakers, and we have a lot of people with the ability to do that.
So the thoughts there from Gabe Hadley and Tad Duffelmeyer. And JB, again, as I said at the very start of the segment, another great shooting display by your Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers. And Stewie doing a really good job with the youngsters and a well all-rounded game. But Geelong showed good signs, of course, when you put the youngsters on, there's always going to be that late fight back. But Hobart did a good job of closing this one out.
Absolutely, and Hobart with a massive lead early on this game, halfway through the third. The game was essentially over, and the last 13 minutes, Stewie essentially playing the second unit. And, you know, while a lot of people go, oh, it's garbage time, you know, well, the game started getting close, and there started to become some pressure situations where our second unit and our young kids needed to get used to, needed to experience, and that's a good building block heading into this weekend as well. But overall, offensive efficiency, you know, we've seen probably the two most efficient offensive nights for Hobart in the last 2 weeks. Could not miss against Bendigo and could not miss once again going up against Geelong. And while they were hot from deep, I think the big thing too is Geelong were really scouting for that outside shot and hoping for them to miss. Well, Hobart really started to read the play really well, obviously trying to get chased. You know, Geelong were trying to chase them off the three-point line. Well, Hobart went running inside. You know, there was a lot of athletic layups at the rim, a lot of tough finishes, a lot of good ball movement as well. And Hobart just firing on all cylinders. Big shout out, I think, you know, Cohen Sapwell was one that I don't know if we mentioned there or not, but Cohen started that game early with 2 fouls and looked like he was going to be in a bit of trouble, recovered nicely in the second quarter, and I think that's, you know, good character and good culture building there for some of our youngsters to look at. And, you know, Cohen could have dropped his head, okay, 2 fouls, I'm not into it, you know, and bring that poor attitude to the game, but bounced back nicely in the second quarter, really set the tone, and the team continued to build on that as well. Jack Purchase has fitted in nicely, Tad Duffelmeyer with his best outing for the team so far, John O'Mines continuing to do John O'Mines things, and again, valuable minutes to our second unit heading into what's going to be a massive triple header on the road this weekend.
Absolutely, and of course, we caught up with Anthony Stewart at our usual Wednesday press conference, and here's what he had to say.
If we can, I mean, we'll go all out to win that first game against Nuttawading, and then we'll work it out from there, but they're going to have an important role. I think where it's really helped is the intensity at training's just gone up a notch or two, and these guys, with the depth we've got, they're competing week in, week out at training, and that's where we're getting better. So, look, we're well prepared, we're fully fit, all 10 are ready to go, and right now we are rolling. We saw last week against Geelong that this team is going to be very difficult to stop. They're so potent from all parts of the floor, and that's what Justin Schuler said after the game. He said, how do you stop 5 guys out there at once? It's a really tough team to stop.
So the thoughts there from Mackay Timbers men's head coach Anthony Stewart. And JB, Stewie, optimistic about the road this weekend. Ideally, he'd like to go 3-0, but realistically, I think 2-1 for his squad would be ideal.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised, you know, again, we're looking at the ladder here. Nuttawading, Knox, Albury, Wodonga in that order. Nuttawading sitting just above Knox. I think Nuttawading, just having a look at they're 8th. Knox are sitting down at 11th, and Albury, Wodonga sitting further down at 13th. Ideally, you want to knock off your Nuttawading and your Knox. Albury, Wodonga not having as much impact on the fixture there, but yeah, ideally, 3-0. Are the men taking an extra as well on the road?
I believe they're taking 10. That's what Stewie said in the press conference.
And that's what we said. You know, the big thing last week was those boys getting some key minutes there, despite it being a blowout, facing some tougher situations and having to work with it. You know, Stewie's prepping them for something like this. It's now come to a head. I think it's very interesting to see how they're going to go. As we mentioned, 3-0 ideally. I think 2-1 is going to be the ideal target. And again, we talked about it, Ronnie. How do you balance a 3-game road trip? Do they want to go hard Friday, Saturday, knowing that, okay, we can come out and do what we need to, get through some sets Sunday, take the loss, okay, but we get on the plane unscathed? Do they have that rest coming off the plane and try not to get any injuries from being all cooped up in the plane on Friday and then go Saturday, Sunday? Or they take Saturday as the rest day so they're keen to go Sunday? It's a massive balance there, but as I said, if they want to try and, you know, knock off their 2 nearest opponents on the ladder, they'd be aiming for Knox and Nuttawading. But at the same time, there's that pressure in the back of the mind. You know, do we want to let Albury Wodonga, who are sitting, you know, 13th, 14th on the ladder, build that confidence to take down a side like Hobart that is going to be a genuine top 4, top 2 chance chance. Perennial championship contender, I think it's fair to say, in this competition right now. Who knows? Obviously coming out unscathed, coming home knowing that there's another big road trip ahead in a few weeks' time's key. The team's really clicking. The young guys are really getting minutes into their legs. Whole lot of factors, to take into account here. I just wonder how they go about it. 2-1, obviously 3-0 would be ideal. Massive trip regardless. And considering results over the weekend, a great opportunity for Hobart to really cement themselves in that top 4 and push genuinely for a top 2 spot.
Anthony Stewart labelling this road trip as a big one in the club's history and for the men's team as well, JB.
Yeah, and understandably too. I mean, as we mentioned, ever since Stewie and Nash were walking down the Southern Outlet to go to school, have they not had it this hard in their basketball careers? 3 games on the road. I mean, professionally, back-to-back nights are tough. We're talking NBL, NBA, in the Euro League, back-to-back nights are tough on teams. Very, very rarely will you ever see a team play 3 games in a row. And I'm not sure exactly how the fixturing's looking there, Ronnie. I would imagine that it's Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, or are we?
Yeah, they're Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday
So
afternoon.
at least they'll have that 24-hour break somewhat from Friday to Saturday. But the big killer there is backing up, almost only about that 15 hours later on the Sunday after their game. That's going to be the killer there as well. Fortunately, they're used to that. When you go on the road, generally it'll be a Saturday night game, Sunday afternoon, you're back. So they're prepared for that. I think that 24-hour rest from the Friday game is going to help them as well. But, I mean, massive learning experience. A lot of these guys who are in, your Jack Purchases, your Tad Dufelmeyers, they've been in the NBL, they've done their back-to-back trips, they know how hard it is. Your Cohen Sapwells and your John O'Mines who are looking to really break into there, and even some of the younger guys who want to get noticed. Okay, this is what you've got to deal with when you reach this level. So, I think accountability and the level of professionalism from our young group is really going to stand out here. And again, they can only grow from it as well. But hopefully that level of professionalism is there, and they can hold up over 3 games. Ideally 3-0. We want to come out unscathed, 2-1 as well. So, as you mentioned, and as Stewie mentioned, massive road trip for the men's team and in the history of the club.
And you can catch all the games by the NBL One website or the NBL app. And of course, as we said in the women's segment, we'll make sure we post the game times up on our social media over the next few days.
And we'll try and get live links to the games as well.
Yes.
Obviously, scores, live links. Try and get the highlights out as well. Big weekend of hoops coming up.
Word it is.
Again, we'll try and get as much as we can through work and basketball and other commitments as well. So, you will not be stretched for basketball content, and it'll be even better as the Game 2 of the NBA Finals is Friday afternoon. You can follow the men's and women's Friday night, then Saturday, Sunday we've got you fixed.
Yes.
Then Game 3 on Monday. So constant basketball happening here around the world. There's bound to be another big signing by the Jack Jumpers as well. So I don't think the basketball-hungry public will go. I don't think they'll starve, Ronnie. Let's put it that way.
That's right, and we've just heard word through social media too that the Australian Boomers games over in America will be broadcast live on obviously subscription TV, JB, as well too. I've just seen that.
I've seen that KO, if you do have KO, that is worth having a look as well. A lot of the international qualifiers about a lot of good international talent and a lot of eye-openers as well. You hear a lot of kids and a lot of people saying, I'm better than this guy, better than that guy. Look, even the guy who's the 8th, 9th, 10th rotation of a pro team is far better than a lot of people playing around your local rec leagues and stuff like that. So, but it's great content to have a look at. The Olympics, not far away either. A lot of basketball to come.
Absolutely. And you can follow the Hobart Chargers on their social media while we're at it. You can give us a like on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, you can give us a follow on Instagram, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So don't forget to keep up to date with all the goings on here at your Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers. Now, JB, obviously it's been a big week of hoops, and again, we're throwing Stewie and the players out there in our Wilson Home Community Program clinics, and this week we were down at Princess Street Primary School, and of course, as Stewie said, over 7 sessions, over 290 students participated.
Massive participation numbers, and seeing some of the photos, it's very rare you see Anthony Stewart look tired after some of those clinics, Ronnie.
Yes, he's very sacked.
In saying that, dealing with 300 kids running around and buzzing and quizzing him and basketball and beating up on him, as most people like to do, I understand why he's tired, but a great shout out to Wilson Homes, of whom we can see from our studios here in Hobart.
Right.
We can see Wilson Homes Community Partner for 2021. It's been great to have them on board, supporting the community clinics and supporting the community program. One of very few supporters boxes on Friday nights that have had a lot of player interaction and basketball interaction. A few of those courtside boxes really copping a beating from players in the Sporting TF 1000 design.
Yes, my word.
So, no, it's been great to have them on board. They've been a great support, and of course they're really allowing the game, the broader Hobart community, everyone to get involved and potentially unearthing some future charges.
And also too, geez, the cars are revving up.
See, even the public are excited for this triple road header, Ronnie. Unbelievable stuff.
You're not wrong there, JB. Now, it is NAIDOC week this week as well too, and the NBL one is going to recognise that as well. With majority of teams with Indigenous jersey designs. It's been great to see on social media as well too, some lovely designs. And I'm just going to quickly quote something here from General Manager Dean Anglin, saying First Nation Australians have laid the foundation for the brilliant standard of basketball we now have in this country, demonstrated by numerous First Nations people playing basketball across the world. We're delighted to be able to recognise our First Nation NBL 1 players and are committed to doing so beyond NAIDOC week. That's a brief statement there. I'll make sure we have that up on the screen. We're just taking it off the NBL One website there, JB. But a great week with NAIDOC week, of course, celebrating our First Nations people as well. So I hope I got that right, just to be quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of those things that I know that the Hobart Chargers do well. I know it's something the Thunder do really well. I know it's something the Tornadoes do well as well. A great celebration, great cause as well. And I think it's one thing to remember just who came before us, who laid the foundation and who's going to be there going forward. Obviously the biggest name going around right now as far as Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander basketballers certainly would have to be Paddy Mills in my mind, Ronnie. Likely captain of the Australian Boomers, I would have to suggest, here at Tokyo, and I've heard a lot of conversation about being a flag bearer as well, and that is a massive honour there as well. So no, a tremendous week, a great week to honour those who have come before us, who are with us and who will be playing with us in the future as well, no doubt about that. I know the Hobart Chargers did a small thing as well last week. I know their women's side definitely did something small for NAIDOC week last week as well before we go on the road. So no, a great weekend and again, a great reason to celebrate for sure.
Yeah, fantastic to see, that is for sure. So Friday night they're in Nuttawading, Saturday night in Albury-Wodonga, but not possibly down at the Lauren Jackson Sports Centre. It may be played at a different venue, again depending on the COVID restrictions there. And it's at the State Basketball Centre in Knox, and of course that's where the Hobart Chargers men's side won the last Seaball Championship back in 2018. Both our men's and women's teams will be there to round off that three-game doubleheader, and they're back home next Friday night, July 16, against the Waverley Falcons.
And if I do believe, Ronnie, when they won the inaugural Seaball Championship of 2008, they won that on the road against Knox.
Yes, in Geelong.
In Geelong?
Yeah.
There you go. I thought it was always in Knox. There you go.
No, in Geelong. Geelong won the rights to host the venue back in those days, and the NBL one, of course, as we mentioned in previous shows, have stated that Melbourne will be hosting the NBL one national finals when they come around after all the conferences wrap up, which is not too far away as we're near the business end towards the season, JB.
We are at the business end of the season. Only a few more weeks, around about a month or so of action left, I do believe, Ronnie, until we really get into finals. The NBL one season coming to the business end of the season, and just so before we leave, Ronnie, I want to deal with some business.
Righto.
Maddie Garrick at number 3 was absolutely robbed of Player of the Week in the women's competition. No doubt about it. End of discussion.
Right. Very good. Yes. It's been very hard.
Roll the footage. Roll the footage.
Righto.
That was the best shot at the Sports Centre all year and the best shot all weekend. No doubt about it. Robbed. Okay, fair enough. You've heard it there from JB. It's been very tough. Even some of the... it was daylight to second, Ronnie. It wasn't tough.
Ronnie. I was just going to say, even our men's players are like they put on some spectacular
Oh,
plays
absolutely.
as well too. But I guess I think there's a really good case there for Matty Garrick to have #1 player of the week. So I don't know what if anyone from the NBL One media crew want to send the criteria to us, we'll have a good look at it.
Maybe Matty needs to do a 360, 3.5 pike twist, qualify for the gymnastics team and make the shot at the same time. Daylight's second, in my opinion, Robbie.
Well, I'm sure.
Unbelievable stuff.
I'm sure we'll get that rectified as the weeks go along. So we'll leave you with the part of the press conference that we haven't showed, or which we will show on our YouTube page, but we'll show a little bit here. Jack Purchase has fronted up the media. Obviously, when we spoke to him, we had the camera on the wrong audio set, but we did get a great blooper out of him. Thanks to Ambrose Augusta as well too for his cameo appearance there. But he spoke to the media today, and we're going to show a little bit of a snippet. You'll see the full interview on Chargers TV. But that will wrap us up here for this edition. On behalf of Justin Bryan, I'm Ron Riggs. We'll see you next week for our preview show.
Loving it. First time really spending some time down in Hobart. It's pretty cold, but I'm getting used to it and enjoying my time.
What was attractive about coming down to the Chargers for you? What did you see as a beneficial coming down?
It was in the works for a while. I was talking to Stewie about 6 months ago about possibility of coming down here, and then I had the opportunity with the Sixers pop up, so then it got put on hold a little bit. Then after that finished, we spoke to Stewie again and decided to come down here. Thought it'd be a good fit for me.